Anime adaptations are a thing that exist. We've gotten them before, along with the public consensus that they're not very good. There's the Fox Dragon Ball movie, Netflix's Death Note, even a Fist of the North Star movie, amongst the multiple adaptations from Japan as well. We had an era where superhero movies weren't as good as they are now, depending who you ask. Anime is going to get its time to shine eventually, and with a growing audience in the West, it's looking more and more likely. Them Hollywood people are noticing this, with multiple anime adaptations already in the works. Lionsgate bought the rights to produce a live-action Naruto movie. Warner Brothers has an Attack on Titan film in the works, helmed by the director of It Chapter 2. The Akira movie is a thing that may or may not happen at some point. Netflix is in the process of making Cowboy Bebop, a Sword Art Online series, and a One Piece show with a budget higher than Game of Thrones. However, not everything lends itself over to be adapted, especially into a movie and especially for America. Dragon Ball is entertaining with good action and an interesting story up until a certain point, but it's long, formulaic, and has a lot of content. The general anime public would want to start straight at the Z portion. That's already skipping 100 episodes worth of content and context. It doesn't work. Frankly, I'm amazed the One Piece adaptation is happening. One Piece is great at world building and has amazing characters, but One Piece is weird. I can't imagine what some of these characters would look like in live action. On the other hand, there are anime that would be perfect to adapt for an American audience. The first anime I had in mind is
Dr. Stone.
After a bright green light encompasses the earth, every human is turned to stone. Almost 4,000 years later, our protagonist, Senku, lucks out and awakens. It's up to him to devise a way to not just bring everybody back, but to bring civilization from the Stone Age to its prime. Throughout the series, we get to learn alongside the characters on how to make essential things humans need. Antibiotics, electricity, soda. But Senku isn't the only one who's escaped from stone. Enter Tsukasa, the strongest teenager known to man. He's tired of boomers, and with his we live in a society mentality, he's going to set natural selection back on track, only allowing the strong to live and the weak to die, no matter how intelligent they may be. Thus begins the war between brains and brawn. The second series I propose is
Black Lagoon.
Our protagonist, nicknamed Brock, is sent through the South China Seas on a work assignment. Unaware that it's been where half the world's piracy takes place, he is, of course, attacked by pirates. Through shenanigans, he ends up joining the pirate crew and antics ensue. Unfortunately for him, this isn't One Piece, where things are generally happy. There's going to be violence, drugs, and sex. And what more would an American audience love than a show about violence, drugs, and sex? There's more to the show, though. The characters are genuinely entertaining to watch. Revy's hot and charismatic, Dutch is jet black from Cowboy Bebop, Rock goes from being a wimp to being a jerk and everybody loves him. They're the type of characters that you could throw into any situation together and they'd be entertaining to watch. I could easily see Black Lagoon as a series you'd see on TNT, probably produced by Michael Bay. The final show that would have a promising adaptation is
The Promised Neverland.
Minor spoilers for the first episode. I try to stray away from spoiling things, but the show is full of mind games and twists. It's necessary for me to spoil the first episode in order to talk about the show's concept. Promised Neverland takes place at an orphanage.
Babies! They're babies!
Right away from the start, you can tell things aren't right. The children are subjected to tests on a daily basis, and the orphanage mother has freaking purple eyes. The children are none the wiser though, as this is where they've been raised, it's the norm. Upon the climax of the first episode, it's revealed that the orphanage isn't the best place to be. So starts the cat and mouse game for the children to escape. The series represents the children as such, but the setting up that they're above average intelligent through the daily tests help keep the disbelief that they could stand a chance at escaping. With shows like Stranger Things and movies like It, the general public could probably handle another franchise about children in danger. The show is relatively contained to only a handful of locations, which would keep the budget modest. You need an open field, a gate, a fence, a forest, and one big set piece. The only real problem I see would be casting children, as child actors aren't always the best and they'd age considerably faster than the show is paced. I suppose that's where the adaptation part would show itself. There you have it. Those are the 3 shows I think would be at least okay as an adaptation made for American audiences. I think Black Lagoon could be either a movie or a show. Promised Neverland could be a movie if you stick to just the first season, but Promised Neverland, along with Dr. Stone, could easily be a long-running series, much like they actually are. And since I'm not actually in charge of anything in Hollywood, these adaptations probably won't happen. So I'd recommend just going to watch the shows themselves. You can watch Promise Neverland and Dr. Stone legally on Crunchyroll. Black Lagoon is available on Funimation. I appreciate you watching my video. You don't have to comment if you want to. The coronavirus is getting to me.